Here we go. Woo! Wow, flawless execution on the opening there. Unbelievable.
That means you're going to lose power in about 40 minutes.
I mean, it's entirely a possibility. Entirely a possibility. Yeah. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Outside the Cinema. We've been told that we're your weekly source for cult movie discussion.
Yeah, a lot of people say it.
Told by me, to you. If that makes any sense. Either way, welcome back, everybody. First official new show of 2024. We had our top 10 last week. Did very well. Got a lot of people talking on the Facebook group and on the internet saying, I liked these movies. Good. Cool. We liked these movies. We're a big happy family.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'd say that's true.
Mostly,
Yeah. Also, our top 10 album show, which is available to listen to on Patreon, patreon.com/outside the cinema. Got a couple people talking over there about some records they liked, stuff they didn't like, stuff they discovered. The number one thing that I always get in the feedback from the music shows when we do them is how much people like them because they are always turned on to artists that they were not aware of or didn't listen to, or were like, I didn't listen to them, but since you recommended them, I did, and I loved it. And that's the whole point of that. And, the whole point of this show is, recommending movies or not recommending movies. Spoiler alert, not a lot of stuff's getting recommended this week.
Yeah. Let me add to that. I watched the first 2 episodes of that Silent Hill show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in a week, one of my favorite game series has a TV show, and I watched only 2 episodes of it.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the Mist TV show, but it really feels
you're not setting a you're not setting a bar very high right
I'm not.
There.
I'm not, because what has Silent Hill done that's been good besides games 1, 2, and maybe 3? Not the movies are mediocre.
Well, Silent Hill 3 wasn't Silent Hill 3 The Room?
No, that was 4. And that was
there was a Silent Hill 3?
What was it? What the fuck happened inside? I am so brain dead.
Because 1 is a classic, and then the second one is the one with the guy trying to find the wife, which is really
so. The
best.
Third one is with what's her face? Heather? Is that her name? Yeah, Heather.
I don't remember.
That 3 was really good. 2 introduced Pyramid Head, and 1 was on the PlayStation 1.
Yep. But for a PlayStation 1 game, it was fucking
amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I don't think the people making this Silent Hill show, and I'm gonna give it more, but we're in Europe, and that's not where Silent Hill is.
Okay.
Unless they're going with Silent Hill as a state of mind and not a physical place. I don't know. I haven't got enough into it. But if I get bored enough at work, I didn't say that, I'll check it out again. But I do not recommend it this
Isn't there Silent Hill? Isn't there are they doing some remasters this year for the original games too? And then a couple new games
coming out, but I don't have any release dates, but they look creepy. So
yeah, I remember watching those release videos. But aren't they doing remasters of 1 and 2 also?
I don't know. I know they did a collection for, I want to say Xbox One era, and people did not like it because they changed some stuff that didn't need to be changed.
Right.
I don't know. I honestly,
I thought I saw it. Maybe I could be completely wrong and just maybe wishing there was a remaster for PS5.
Well, hold on. There is January of last year says that Konami is developing a Silent Hill 2 remake.
Okay.
So there is
but
it's going to be released this year, it says.
Supposedly.
Yep, set to be released for 2024 for PlayStation 5 and Windows. So fuck the rest of you, I guess.
For Windows. Yeah. But not Xbox.
It'll probably get ported over if it's successful.
I would think so.
Oh, right here It says 2024 for Windows and is a timed console exclusive PS5 at launch before being eligible for release on other platforms following 1 year.
Oh, okay.
So they just get a year exclusive rights. Sense. Konami's a weird company. They have these successful things and they don't capitalize on them, it seems.
Yeah, or they take forever. And by the time it comes out, people don't really care anymore.
Yeah. Whatever.
Not that I'm like I barely even played. When the PlayStation 5 went into Travis's room, and I haven't seen it since. So, because he plays Fortnite all the time, like all the time.
I have never played Fortnite.
It's frustrating. I mean, it's fine for what it is. Like, I mean, I played a couple rounds, like, but it's fine for what it is. I get it.
No, I understand.
Like,
I just never doesn't interest me.
It's the community aspect of playing with your friends and stuff, I think, is really more so for him. Yeah, he doesn't sit and like play by himself very often. Like, he might, like, if he's waiting for his friends to play, he might, but like,
okay.
I don't think he ever just fires up and plays by himself.
All right. I'm still a huge fan of single player games. I finished Horizon Zero Dawn 6 years late because I didn't have a PlayStation 4 or 5 until recently. Horizon's great, and then I started right up on the next one, the newest one, and it looks fantastic. I really like it.
Yeah,
I remember the ads.
I haven't played anything recently.
Yeah, I remember the ads. I'm like, why the fuck is that girl shooting robot monsters, animals with a bow and arrow? How is that smart? It is so satisfying to take those things down with your bow. It's really good.
Fair.
I like it. It's pretty smart. Pretty smart story. More smart than what we have today.
Yeah. All right. So for the next couple weeks, or next few weeks, I don't know, handful of episodes, we're going to be doing stuff from 2024, from 2014, because we've moved to 2024, and our kind of general rule of thumb for cult stuff is 10 years or older. So we like to take, the first few episodes and kind of look at some of the stuff from from 10 years prior, which is 2024, which is 2014. Jesus. There's some good stuff, but we're not going to necessarily cover all of the stuff that is the expected stuff to cover. We might look at some of it for sure, but this week I specifically chose 2 flicks, one of which I had seen and the other I didn't, but I chose the 2 flicks that I picked because they both kind of run in the same world. And you think back about 10 years ago, webcam sites were like becoming a big thing, whether it was, adult websites like we see in our second film or one of the films, or if it was chat roulette was the big one, and that's really what the other kind of film deals with. They were kind of coming into their own and were a big deal and were all about everything. So of course every fucking horror movie maker has to jump on the fucking trend and make their COVID movie or whatever. I'm saying that because like when COVID hit, it was like all these fucking COVID zombies and like all these whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the 2 flicks we are covering this week, one is more well regarded than the other. That one being The Den, which I know I had seen before.
Me too.
And the only reason I know that I had seen it before was because it was already logged into my watch list on IMDb. I don't think we covered it on the show. It may have been spoken about in passing.
Maybe.
But I don't think we ever did a full cover of it.
I don't remember doing that.
The dog's going nuts in the other room. I don't either. I remember watching it briefly after kind of starting to watch it. But it definitely didn't stick with me. And the other one is called Girl House.
Yeah.
Which is a bunch of hot chicks in a house on live 24-hour cams.
Yeah.
Mark, shut up! God forbid the mailman drops the mail off. He does it every day.
I think the problem is all the dogs see the mailman every day, but they don't get to meet him. It's like, that dude is here every day.
My dog, Bark has met the mailman. No, he's met the mailman. The mailman's smart. He brings treats in his pocket every day for the dogs, just in case.
Nice.
Just in case. So the 2 flicks we're doing this week, The Den and Girl House. Scott will be by later on, and obviously Joe is starting the Hellraiser series.
Yeah.
So that should start great and end horribly. Actually, no.
Yeah.
No, it'll end really good.
It's going to have
there'll be a lot of
mid-franchise crisis, and then it might get better.
Yeah. I feel bad. He's got the next 3 months already planned out for him, and it's just like knowing what he's walking into.
I'm going to try and do something this year too. I have never watched. There are Godzilla movies I haven't seen for some reason.
Which ones?
So I'm going to just watch one a week till I finish them. And that should take me into next year.
All right,
so,
cool.
I don't know. Just so I'll be putting up a bunch of Godzilla pictures.
All right, so we're going to start we're gonna start our reviews this week with The Den, which I think is the better of the two.
I mean, undeniably.
I don't know. Okay, fair. So, this is available to watch on Tubi, on AMC, on the IFC streaming one. It's also on Plex.
Yeah, it's
I
like
believe,
everywhere.
Too. Yeah, it's one of those ones that's available to watch everywhere. So, here is a trailer for The Den.
Hey, I'm Elizabeth.
What's up?
Nothing much. I'm actually just trying to meet some new friends.
I'll be your friend.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. Let's be friends.
Can I tell you a secret?
Hey!
Hello.
Hello. Do you come on here a lot? Are you guys in school? Hey, oh my god, you're on a bike.
I'm on my bike.
Yeah!
You should come over here and help me finish this bottle of wine.
I'm sorry, I'm still working. Your boyfriend's got some great moves. You're such an idiot! I think that I just witnessed a murder.
They want you to watch. They want to see your reaction.
Are you sure this isn't a friend of yours playing a prank?
Why isn't anybody doing anything?
They're watching everything.
Why are you doing this?
All right, The Den, 2013 or 2014, depending on where you look. Directed by Zach Donahue, who also directed something called The Unknowable.
Sounds like something we should have seen.
It's a show. It's a TV show.
Oh,
Something called Deep End.
it's about swimming. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
About swimming. Starring Melanie Papalia, David Schlackenhaufen.
Okay,
Schlattenhaufen.
sure.
Very German. Very German name.
Yeah.
Adam Shapiro and nobody you're going to recognize. So, this film is found footage-esque. It is told through different webcams and screen recordings of computers and phones and GoPros and all of the fun lack. Issue is you're not given any parameters. You're not given any rules to abide by, so we don't actually know what we're watching in terms of it being a found footage thing. I think it's really just presented in the narrative is what it is.
Yeah, it's a I don't know, third person movie.
So yeah,
with found footage elements. Right?
right. But there's nothing in the film that's presented in like a professionally shot narrative way.
Oh yeah.
It's
That's
all,
true.
I mean, it's found footage, and all of the footage in the film is made up from the cameras that are being used to film.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But it gets fucking real wacky because, like, it's like literally it's phone footage, computer footage, GoPro footage. And if you know anything about the technology from this time period, like none of this works that way. Like, you can't like tape a Logitech webcam to your head and use it to broadcast wirelessly, right? Like that's not a thing.
I have no idea.
Well, no. The answer is no.
That's-
You can't just tape a webcam to your head and like broadcast a wireless feed or something like that. So the story in this is very simple. We meet Elizabeth. She is doing a thesis or a term paper or something. She's getting a grant from her school to do it. And basically what she is presenting is to do this film or whatever it is. Because we're never really kind of told what the final plan for the
Yeah,
presentation is, but
it was like a
it's
social experiment.
yeah, a social experiment where she's going to talk about how everyone lives their life
I
online.
mean,
and all
let's
these
be
things.
honest. The what's it called? The grant part of the narrative is only there so we don't have to think, why isn't she going to work? That's it. They just
Right.
made it her job,
Right.
and I'm fine with that.
Nope, that works.
Yeah.
That works. So she's using specifically this website called The Den, which is literally just chat
Yes.
roulette. If you guys remember chat roulette, it's not a thing anymore because it was as this film shows, a cesspool of what
Chat
what it
roulette
was.
when the initial idea was put out over the internet when it first started up. That just the idea of it just gave me so much anxiety.
Absolutely.
You want me to talk to who?
People I don't know.
I have a hard time. I used to have I don't. Playing the Ghostbusters multiplayer game, I don't have a problem joining up with other people. But back then for like Halo and whatever else was around at the time, no, I couldn't. I had such a hard time doing online gaming. Ugh. So this whole movie is a fucking nightmare for me.
So Elizabeth is using the Den to connect with people, and like the first one she does, you hear a little bit in the trailer there where she's talking to the kid. She's like, "I'm just here looking for some new friends." He's like, "And I'll be your friend," and then like does like a thing where he scares her.
Pretty good though. That set the bar really high.
Yeah.
For
Too bad.
this movie.
Unfortunately, it's all downhill from there. So, like immediately.
Well, I mean, when
she's got a boyfriend.
you have a ball up real high,
named-
it's just gonna roll down.
True. She's got a boyfriend named Damien, who, of course, you spend too much time on the computer. You spend too much time working. Why don't you pay more attention to me? I'm more important than all of these other things you have going on. She has a friend named Lynn, who is somewhat interested in what she's doing. She comes over and does a couple of the chat roulettes with her. And she has a sister who is pregnant, who also is just like, you work too much. You never come over and visit me. I'm pregnant. Pay attention to me.
They just ramp these people up to the most annoying people they could be.
Yeah. Immediately, everybody in this movie, except for her friend Max, who is the computer guy, is like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, everybody comes off as pretty selfish. I mean, she told them this is what I'm doing. And like, oh, cameras, what are you doing? No.
Right. But then even she comes off selfish too, in terms
comes off
of
as so stupid. She's so
Stupid,
naive
yes.
and stupid. It's aggravating. Go ahead.
So she's doing the chat thing. She's jumping from chat to chat, trying to find people to talk to. And of course, she gets the weirdos. She gets some young kids that are just like playing around with it.
In all fairness to this movie, we did get male full frontal nudity, which is kind of what that site would have been famous for. So,
yeah, because that was chat roulette's whole thing was like people just like flashing their dick, and it would like, you'd go to chat roulette and it would pop up and be some dude's dick
it's like,
there, and you're like,
do
all
you want
right.
to see flaccid, or do you want to see a guy just angry masturbating to you?
I mean, because you get all of those in this.
Yeah.
Like she gets to the one guy that's just like,
The one with the dead face,
of course.
was
the guy with no shirt
that
on.
was a really good,
just like-
disturbing character that was momentarily in the movie.
He just stared too. He just looked at the camera the
Yeah.
whole time like this. He was just like,
Yeah,
very.
a lot
German.
of it was show us your boobs.
Yeah,
So
I liked when she got the two Indian guys, and he was like, "Yes, hello, ma." He's like, "Hello, you need to tell my friend how to please a
Yeah.
woman. You show us, yes." like you're such a stereotype, but it's hilarious.
they at least tried to be smooth about it.
He did. He's like, he needs to. What was it? He needs to be able to please the bride.
Yeah. Can you show us how to do it?
Can you show us
No.
on your body?
No, nice try. At least she was like kind of like, yeah, all right, nice try, and
Yeah.
and then left. Jesus.
I mean, it starts off all like, innocently enough. And I mean, in using the word innocently, very,
Yeah,
very broad term. And she gets one that's a still of a woman.
right.
And you don't hear, there's no video for it. It's just a still of this woman. And you hear kind of like some like murmurs and some stuff that kind of like, is uneasy, but she misses it the first time. And then then we see the people or the person behind this that hacks into her system. Yeah. And again, I'm not a hacker. I don't really know anybody that hacks computers. Like, why does everything always have to have like crackle and distortion like that? Because I don't think that's how it works.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like the digital distortion you get in like all these videos, like that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so they hack into her system and show this girl to her being murdered. Right. And she immediately believes it. And because it came across very real. Like it didn't like
err on the side of caution, right? Yeah.
For sure. So she calls the police and she's like, hey, I'm on this website. I think I just saw somebody get murdered. And now I get the police reaction in the sense of like, well, we don't know where the website is. It could be anywhere in the world. We don't really, we can send it to cybercrimes, but like, we can't really help you like quickly. Like there's not like an easy way to help you right away. I understand that side of it. What I didn't understand was the fucking anger that the person on the other end of the line showed this lady. Like,
yeah,
when he was like, listen, bitch, there's nothing we can do. We can send it to cybercrimes if you want. What are we supposed to do? Tell me what we're supposed to do. And she's like, I don't know. She's like, I called you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm looking it up just to make sure, but the FBI website has the cybercrimes division created 12 years before this movie was released. So they would have known what was happening at the time. And they probably would have at least been able to get to the point where they're like, oh, they're bouncing it off a bunch of IPs. They have a VPN going. Right. We don't know what to do.
We never get that far, though. We never get that far.
Because the movie's not about being technical and correct in that aspect. It's about making you uncomfortable and showing you women getting killed.
And it works for that. And this is kind of like the interesting thing when we go back and we cover stuff that has come out since like we started the show. And like 10 years ago watching this, we probably didn't question any of that, right?
There were things that I questioned. I remember when I watched it, like, why is this woman so stupid? How can she be on the internet and be this naive? But other stuff, no, not really. Because you can get into somebody's computer and show just them a video. That's fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But like overall, we are definitely way more knowledgeable in this now than we would have been 10 years ago. Yeah. So sometimes stuff like that really, really can affect how you watch the movie. And I think this movie actually is affected by that somewhat. So as things go on, obviously the story is simple. They're stalking her. They're showing her things. They kidnap her boyfriend. But her character of Elizabeth drives me fucking insane because you've already mentioned how stupid she is and her decision making. But the thing that really set me off was she has the friend Max, who's the computer guy, who's helping her out with the computer stuff. And he comes over and she's like, I can't find Damien and this is going on and the video, blah, 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 blah. And he's like trying to figure it out. And rather than her being like, thank you for helping me, she starts fucking like yelling at him. And I'm just like looking at this guy and I'm like, dude, why are you there?
Walk away. Yeah.
Like, fuck you. I'm just trying. And he doesn't like even defend himself. Like, she's like, what do you mean you can't show it? Get out. Just get the fuck out. And I would have been like, bitch, I am trying. You asked me for help.
Yeah.
You asked me for help and I'm trying to help you. So shut your mouth.
You could have just said to her, yeah, I'm not coming to your funeral. Bye.
See ya. Either way, he ends up getting kidnapped and murdered too, so it doesn't matter.
No kidding.
Doesn't matter. Everyone in this gets kidnapped and murdered. Everyone. But she just makes some really, really poor decisions.
It's like she thinks of a project where she can do all the work at home and not have to go anywhere. And then, but it would be like if I told you, hey, I'm going to start up an embroidery company.
Yeah.
I think I know what embroidery is. I know you can put it on hats, so I'm good. You don't have to tell me anything. That's what this felt like.
Yeah. So, as things build, we learn. First, we think it's maybe just somebody stalking her, and then like you're given that it's more than one because there's a point where like they're breaking into the sister's house and somebody else is holding the camera.
Yeah.
So like you know that like, but also again, we've been live streaming with this show on and off for our entire 16-year existence, right?
Yeah.
And like I know how big a fucking hassle trying to live stream shit was.
Yeah.
When we first started, and then up until really recent, like the last couple of years, it really it's like made it easy. But it was a fucking nightmare to live stream in 2014. But this thing makes it like you can live stream from any camera, anywhere, at any time with a perfect feed and no lag and no like.
Yeah.
And that like I wish I could say that didn't bug the shit out of me, but that really bothered me because I'm like. I've got like super fast internet at my house, 10 gig internet or whatever the hell it is in my house. And I'm like, I can't stream that good.
Yeah.
And it's 2014. And this girl makes every bad decision.
Yeah.
Every bad decision.
Literally, yeah.
And then like, as they kind of open it up, there's no real, we don't get, because again, it's found footage. So there's no like, narrative to give us like an info dump or anything, but like we find out there's like this group of people or whatever that are hacking their system to kidnap people and then murder them and live stream it for people as people would people pay for it on like the dark web.
Yeah, so let's say name it as what it is. This is an online version of Hostel. Where you're just viewing instead of participating. It's a cheaper version.
Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, full spoilers on this. I'm sorry. I mean, this isn't going to, I don't care. I don't care. So like they eventually catch her and kidnap her and bring her to what seems like some sort of warehouse or dilapidated building somewhere. And this is the thing that just absolutely made me be like, now fuck this movie. Cause like you're literally not paying any attention to what you're doing. They bring her to this dilapidated warehouse. She's able to escape. Like she's able to get herself unlocked from being chained up. She's able to escape and she's running through all the different hallways and she's in elevators and she's up and down stairs. And then she's able to escape the what I thought was a warehouse. And she comes out from underground in the middle of like the desert. There's no building. And like, there's just like a bunch of like rundown cars and like all this stuff. But like, she very much is like running through a building that has like windows and stuff in it when she's like running around. It's like, it's dark and it's night, but there's like, you can see glass windows and she's up and down stairs. And like, it's like, it looks like a dilapidated mental hospital is actually what it looks like.
Yeah. And for the purposes of bringing someone in to murder them, you don't have to go the full Resident Evil Hive. We're going to pretend this is above ground and put pictures of trees in the windows and shit for you. You don't need that. You just don't.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're like, oh, well, it'd be really neat if she came up out of the ground instead of, whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, though. And then the thing is, like, there's all these people coming after her. Like, we're talking like 15, 20 people coming after her, all of them running after her, like, to show this, like, again, like, this, like, big hive mind or something of, like, all these people working together. And they eventually catch her again and they fucking murder her. And then we see the video of her getting killed. And then the director, who I'm sure thought he was so fucking smart with his little buck and twist at the end, where we then see the guy watching the computer and they got all these narratives listed on the screen. Yeah. And he's like, you have to pay for, you want to see this person's narrative and see the videos and watch them get murdered. And he takes the credit card out of the wallet. He puts the thing in and click, and he starts watching it. And then a little kid walks up to the door.
Yeah.
And says, "Hey, Daddy, dinner's ready," or whatever he said. And he quickly turns the computer off. "Okay, honey." And the twist is the whole like everyday society is watching.
Yeah.
And we're all terrible. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Zachary Donahue. Fuck you. You're not nearly as smart as you think you are.
Nah, it was too broad at the end, I think. Normal people, well, we can't say they're normal people, so never mind. But the
I know what you mean.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the whole ending, it wasn't surprising. Obviously, they were doing it for a reason, and if there's one person murdering people, then you know there's two because the camera's being held. Then you know there's three because two walk away and one follows them with the camera. Like, you know there's going to be a bunch of people in doing this, and we've all seen those movies already. So, I mean, it could have been a little more interesting, a little more thought put into it than, oh, everybody would pay to see this. No.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think the toughest part, or the even tougher thing with this movie is it actually starts off strong. Like the first 15, 20 minutes of it, I think it's a good idea what they're trying to do. And it's, the setup is good. And it just goes into this, like, it just gets so ridiculous.
Like, it's standard, I felt. It was just like, okay. It's boring.
Yeah. I guess you can look at it in that way in terms of, like, it went exactly the route you would expect it to. And, like, but... like all the technical stuff drove me nuts because it's like they wipe they wipe their wiper computer, but yet the computer still works and still has all the software, and like they wipe the hard drive, but like everything is still there, like shit like that, where it's just like that's just not how those things work.
Yeah. And the thing is, back then, 10 years ago, you could do that, but now anybody that would watch this movie, I would imagine, 90% of the people that would watch this movie have a much better idea of how that stuff works.
Yeah, I mean Twitch alone. Look at how Twitch works in like. You gotta know stuff now to get on computers. You do. I don't know why I play that. Whatever. All right, Chris, do you recommend, and what is your grade for The Den?
I'm surprised we're done already.
I'm not. What else do you got to say? You got anything else you want to say about it?
Yes.
All right. Include it with your final thoughts here then.
So this initially started out, and I was like feeling pretty okay with this. It feels like it's got the same energy as the strange thing that happened to Emily when she was young. That was short from VHS, the first one. It had that kind of feel. They sort of look similar, so like I'm like, okay, good, all right. That's fun. And then she was just at least Emily in VHS, it was kind of a body horror thing that was going on in there. So like she cannot understand what's going on with her physically. That's fine. But if you're going to do a computer thing, I'm going to say computer thing because that sounds stupid for a job. If you're going to do a computer thing, then you should know about computers.
Computers?
Yes, that's how they've said it on the IT crowd. So I just default to that because it's funny.
Fair. It's fair.
But yeah, this is still in the range of people are making movies without any likable characters.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not going to recommend. Well, I'll give it
maybe you could rate it between the two films we watched this week if you recommend this one.
Yeah. If I had to recommend this one, we'll start with my recommending this one. Not saying anything about the other one yet, but no, this is a I'm gonna go C- because this is the second time I watched it, and the first time I think was closer to when it was released, I guess is the best way to say it. So was it?
I feel like we probably watched it like to see if it like could make an end of year list or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we were cramming for the year. And it was put out by IFC Midnight, which like
generally
puts out good stuff.
Yeah, not always, but
not always, as we can see.
So yeah, I'm gonna go C- because it's not awful. It's pretty well made. I like the idea that it kept me guessing who is doing what, how many people are there, but it's not any more interesting than a C- for me. But you notice how they did set it up for a huge franchise sequel series with the the Hostel style group of people. Not really. Nah. That's it. I'm good. I don't need to talk about this one.
All right. I mean, I don't want to recommend it, but the second movie we watched was real bad this week.
Yeah.
If
we had to recommend one, it would be this one.
and that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Not even close. Like, not even wouldn't even be in the conversation of like, oh my God, that was so bad.
Right.
But it's not great either. So,
right.
Characters are not likable.
Yeah.
It looks fine for what they're doing. As long as you don't start to split hairs about the technology that's being used.
Yeah. To be fair, though, the technology actually would work a lot better now. But
for sure. Oh, you could do this now, and I'm sure there's films out there that have done this now. But it just doesn't it just doesn't do anything that I haven't seen before. The kills aren't interesting. And that's something I'm going to repeat when we talk about the other movie this week. Whereas, if you're going to go hard on having these elaborate murder sequences, make them interesting and make them memorable. Because if you're going to live in this world, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You're not held to any standard of it can only be this. And the thing is, it's just there's nothing interesting about it. It's as much as everyone wants to shit all over Saw and Hostel in those movies, those kills are imaginative.
Right.
At least they were at the time.
Right.
They were interesting and they would do things you hadn't done before. And this movie just literally is how many times are you going to stab somebody?
Yeah. Speaking of,
it's just
I finished a game last night. I'm not going to say what it is, but the main character is there in front of the defeated bad guy, and there's a blade involved. And you think, because you've gone through this whole game with this character, that they're going to say, let them live and be a better person in the future. But all of a sudden, they take the blade and just in and out fast, and the dude collapses. And that was surprising. It's not imaginative or anything. It was just violent and fast. And that was okay, because it was sort of out of character for your character, but not really, because we're looking at the safety of everybody they know, the world. So I'm okay with boring kills, standard stab in the throat, screwdriver in the ear, whatever kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, no.
And also and I'll mention this now too, because it actually shows up in the other movie. So it's kind of bizarre but the wrapping the plastic around somebody's face is a thing that I feel we've seen a lot more lately. You're not going to be able to suffocate somebody in 20 seconds.
No, none of that shit
I can
works.
hold my breath for almost 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
chloroform doesn't knock you out instantly. None of it is no. And the whole, my hands are free and you're putting plastic over my mouth. If you can't just stick a finger into the plastic in your mouth and rip a hole open, come on.
I didn't even think of that. That's why is everyone doing this?
Yeah.
They have plastic wrapped around their face.
Also, something else to think of. If you have duct tape over your mouth, you could curl your lips in and start licking the tape and ruin the adhesive so you can get it off of you.
Or you could also just blow air and slowly peel it, right?
Yeah, you could do all of that.
I would think. Because once your mouth moves out, the tape isn't going to stick. I don't know.
No, there's ways to do it. I mean, the hardest thing that I've seen is when somebody's in the back seat and they try to choke you with wire. That's right. That's difficult.
That's another thing that we've seen a lot. I mean, we see in so many movies where people are getting, choked or strangled, and you can't strangle somebody in 30 seconds.
No.
I've watched so many documentaries about murderers, and they're all when they strangle somebody, they're it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. Constant pressure for minutes at a time. Lot of
Crazy.
Minutes.
Anyway,
it is so tiring. I hate doing what?
That's why you like to using the Garamond, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Garage.
Absolutely.
Garamond.
Yep. You just got to pull and was 1 foot in the middle of the back. You're good.
So I'm going to give this, you gave it a C-.
Yeah.
I'll give it a D plus. I'm not far off from a C minus though. I think it started off strong, and I thought I did like what they were attempting to do, but it just devolves itself into just such standard fare. And then like the thing at the end where like she's in a warehouse and then all of a sudden she's walking out of like a doorway in the middle of the friggin' desert.
Yeah.
And then like all the people in the cars, like,
Yeah, that's cool when it's Resident Evil and you like pop up and you don't know where you are, because the whole series
Right,
is based around, the like in part 72 there were the different staging areas where it's like, this is a Russian, military thing. This is a Japanese street. We're going to test our zombies there. And it's a huge under Arctic installation. This is a bunch of dudes with a website. It's not a multinational corporation running the show.
no, it's stupid. All right. Speaking of stupid, we got to cover the other movie.
Yeah, you
the
picked
next
this,
flick.
by the way. You definitely put this on the list.
I picked it to pair it with The Den.
I have to
because they
I have to point something out. When I went to look at the list, you must have moved some titles around because a couple letters got confused. I'm reading the list and I'm like, what the fuck is the Dennis? Because the word is got stuck to the end of the den, and it took me forever. I refused to text you to find out what the hell it was. I'm like, I am going to figure this out.
And you did.
I did.
Good for you.
Yeah. I would have been
Good for
pissed
you.
if it was this movie that I had to figure out, because that is not
I know.
worth the effort.
The only other thing I'm going to say about The Den is the one other good thing about it is it only runs about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's all it should. I mean, you got to have a tight story on that.
All right. Girl House. Here's a trailer.
Okay, ladies. I think it's time. Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Time for what? Okay, boys. Here I am. Have you been on the internet lately? Porn is not what it used to be. I mean, it's totally different now. It's mainstream and accepted.
No.
There's no stigma. Nobody cares.
I don't know about that.
Welcome to
That's
Girl
she's
House.
totally wrong.
So, like, hundreds of guys are watching us right now.
Thousands at any given moment.
Dude, I know that girl. You know this creature. Not possible.
Sorry, lover boy. You just missed me. You really are a pathetic freak.
No. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Turn around.
Somebody said I need to kill everybody.
It's putting on a show. This is insane. There has to be some way to find them.
Oh, stop.
They couldn't even
please.
make a good fucking trailer?
No. And you know what the thing I think that I got super, super frustrated about this is it's directed by two gentlemen, Trevor Matthews and John Knotts. If the name John Knotts sounds familiar to you, it should, because number one, he's been on the show before. But he directed Jack Brooks' Monster Slayer,
Okay.
which is excellent.
But he did that after this,
He also-
right?
No, before.
Oh.
And he directed The Shrine, which was also
The
excellent.
Shrine
We had
was
him on.
fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, we had him on to promote The Shrine.
Oh, no. I feel real bad now. Because he
I
made a
don't.
real bad movie. I'm sorry. Just
so
straight up, this isn't going to be fun for him.
no, but I'm wondering because there's him and another director. It's him and one other guy. I'm wondering if maybe he was brought in at the end or something to try to like make something of it, or like
That's possible, yeah.
Well, let's check the trivia here and see if it says anything. There are multiple songs in the film soundtrack performed by Slane, the actor who plays Loverboy. Great. One of 2 films released in 2014 featuring Nicole Fox fully nude. Great.
Doesn't help.
Okay, that's it. That's the...
Because the rest of the movie is just trivial. So, like, they can't put the whole thing
good
there.
point. So the overall story of this is your main girl is Kylie. She's a college student. We learn, her father has recently passed away. Her mother is got medical bills she has to deal with. So she feels bad having her mother pay for her school and her boarding. So she finds a way to get a job to help alleviate the financial pressure from her mother. On board.
That's fine. It's an extreme response to a situation, I think. The first thing,
but you know what?
The first thing I would think of would not be let me go get naked for people online.
But you know what?
My bills.
She's good looking and she can make a lot of money doing it. I ain't gonna hate.
No, I'm not.
I ain't gonna hate on that.
I'm just saying personally, me. I mean, I admitted I have a hard time playing online video games, so I can't imagine being
Fair.
naked for people.
Very fair. Yeah, I don't like to talk to anyone, so
no.
So I get that. I get all that. Girl House is essentially a reality. It's like a reality show type thing, but it's 24/7 webcams inside the Girl House, which is a bunch of girls. You have Devin, you have Heather, you have Janet, you have Kat, and guys pay to watch them do whatever in the house.
Yeah.
The expectation is that they can do private video calls with them to, like, I don't know, jerk off and watch them, or maybe just talk to them, or like everything's on the table.
Yeah.
But it's all implied very much and told that, there's a lot of sex and a lot of stuff going on in this house and people pay good money to watch it happen.
Yeah.
Which is a real thing.
Couple things right off the bat. They say this is completely secure. You'll have privacy. No one, blah, blah, all that stuff they tell you about, everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. What's the first thing they do? They put her online, right? They got her camera in the bedroom and everything. And it has her fucking real name in the corner of the screen. So are we being safe and secure? Because even I know that strippers and porn stars have fake names. Hell, actors have fake names. But she's just going to go up there with Tanya's cam or whatever the fuck her name is.
It was Kylie's cam.
Kylie. I mean, come on. You can't go with anything else? Anything? Look around the fucking room. Duvet would have been a better name.
We have to talk about, and I'm going to unleash you on this, the opening scene of this movie with the preamble of the killer as a young child. Do you want to explain this?
Yeah, this has no place in the movie at all. It's just because, okay, so you got Fatty, kid Fatty, because he's a fat kid. You got to make him a fat kid because apparently only fat kids get bullied, right? And like, these 2 girls start sexually harassing him, and then they sexually assault him. That's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
but back then, because now we're all in a different mindset of what sexual harassment is. It's not acceptable, no matter who you are. If you're the guy and you're on the receiving end, it sucks. If you're the girl on the receiving end, and it sucks. It's the way the kids were speaking, this one girl, the way she was speaking was older than she was. Like, if you're bullying somebody and you're trying, oh, hey, take your pants down, I'll show you yours if you show up, whatever. But there's no fun in it. The way the kids delivering these lines, it's like a rapist, deadly serious, being like, take your top off. And it's like, ugh. But they're like, what, 10, 12? At the most.
Yeah, maybe 11, 12 at the oldest.
And all because the kid was looking at them? I mean, you're here in a physical space near me. I'm gonna look at people. He wasn't doing anything terrible, was he? I can't remember.
Well, we never even saw what he was doing because the scene opens with them chasing him through the woods.
Right. So here's the thing that really pissed me off about this. So, fuck it. I'm not going to recommend this, so I'm going to spoil the shit out of the beginning. They tease him. They pull his pants down. They say his dick looks like an acorn. And to be fair, when you're scared and it could be cold out and you're young and haven't gone through puberty, sure, it could, I guess. But what was the reason for them to do that? Like, there's no motivation. There's nothing. I mean, that girl did look like the meanest of the mean girls. They cast her well.
And she had the southern accent too, so.
Yeah, like you could tell she could turn and be like sticky sweet and then like venomous right after. So good for that girl. And good for the violence, because when the kid knocks her off the bike and right before he kills her, because he kills her, she's missing a tooth. But the way she begged, it did. I have a real hard time with people in life and death situations that just lay there and don't fight back. Like, this kid should have been wiggling around, should have rolled, jumped up, ran away. They're kids. They have energy. They can do that.
Well, they made the point to show that her leg was very badly broken.
Oh, really? I must have been rolling my eyes when that happened.
The bone, that she broke her leg and the bone was through the skin.
Yeah, but still, I mean, the adrenaline.
No, I'm just saying they did show that. It wasn't like
right.
she was just like laying there.
That's fair. And I will say the beginning of this definitely raised the bar higher than I thought it would be. Now, there's two girls in the beginning of this, and one of them just watches, and the other one is the one that gets killed. So, you would think that this girl is the other girl, right?
You would think.
No! That other girl is never brought up again. Also, he murdered her. And there's no investigation. The other person that was with this bully didn't say, she was picking on this kid. Like, she would totally like absolve herself of it. She was picking on this kid and pulled his pants down and he killed her. Why the fuck did we just jump to him being like 35 years old?
The only thing I can say with that is, like, he threw her bike off the bridge and then threw her off the bridge. So, maybe she had an accident and drove her bike over the side or something. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, that's the only thing.
But there should have been an investigation.
But again, no, and I'm sure there probably was, but like, we immediately fast forward to, like 35 years later or whatever.
So one incident, which, I got to say, it is a little different because there is murder involved. It's not normal bullying.
Right.
That one incident set him on a path of being a psychopath for the rest of his life. How do I know he's a psychopath? Very easy. I'll tell you how I know. He's a computer guy, and he's trying to fix a server rack with a fucking crowbar. Okay? He's a moron. Who the fuck? He's jamming it in there. What's he doing to those racks? Like, it's easy enough to show somebody's frustrated. Just have him rip out the Ethernet cables.
Right.
But no, it had to be a crowbar so he could have the daydream of smashing the girl in the head with it when she talks shit to him. But then
After he stares at her, looks up her skirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he definitely did something he shouldn't have, and she was like,
yeah.
Don't.
Right. Right. So. But she confronted him directly, which is very dangerous.
Right.
And that woman,
but she did it like in the safety of what she thought was, her like office, like, because everyone in the office was there.
Yeah. Yeah. And we know in horror movies, no place is safe for any woman or kid or not the villain.
Right. So we know that he is not stable. We know that he's a psychopath, and he is on Girl House all the time.
Yeah. Wasn't there a quote in the beginning about how bad porn is for people?
Probably.
And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. Yes.
So he
Anything
watches
to
Girl
excess
House
is
all
bad.
the time.
Yeah.
And he prints out photos of the girls and then like photoshops in like pictures of him with them.
He just cut them
And
out
this is-
and taped them to.
Sure, whatever.
He wasn't that good with the computer. Sorry, computer.
But herein lies my another one of my issues with this movie is that like he's obviously incredibly unstable, but we don't, as far as we know, there's no history with any of this because when they're like, oh, that's Loverboy, he's sweet. Like, so like all the girls have been nice to him apparently leading up to this, but we then immediately see the hot blonde girl because, the hot blonde girl is always the one that's the bitch. Like gets real mad at him because he takes a liking to Kylie.
The new one. Yeah.
And Kylie
fucking surprise.
And she's shocking turn of events, right? And she's very friendly to him and she's very nice. And then he sends a photo because he's a computer whiz. And sends a photo and he's like, do you still think I'm attractive or whatever? And because he sends like the most like creepy photo ever. Like,
yeah,
it's hang on.
It could be
like
the
this.
best
It's like,
picture taken of him though. Oh, Jesus. You have too much emotion
That's the photo
in your
he
face.
sent to her. That's the photo he sends to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, sure. And she's still nice to him.
Yeah.
Like she's still friendly to him, but she wasn't there at a point where she was supposed to be. And Devin gets mad at him because he said she's doing her like show for her fans or whatever. And he comes into her chat room.
Fucking 3 of them.
I know, right? Comes into the chat room, her chat room, and is like, where's Kylie? And she's like, sorry, Loverboy, I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I need to know where she is. And she's like, I don't know where she is. And he's like, tell me where she is. And she's like, fuck you. And like blocks him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You absolutely would do that because why? Why would you come in like that? Why would she's not there? You have access to all the goddamn cameras. What the fuck?
right. So what I wanted to know was why is this the one situation that broke him? Like, why
Right.
was he so nice leading up to this? Because he obviously was too forward beforehand and what he had never sent a picture before or like,
Right.
it's just a lot of questions
Well,
as to why this is the moment.
He sees the picture he sent up on the wall, and that's the other thing too. Is like all these people, we're told they're supposed to be nice to all the clients, but then everybody else acts like a fucking dick to this guy.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
like you know what your job is, right? And you know the people you're catering to can be fucked up. Why would you even attempt that?
Yeah. And also you're on camera all the time.
Oh yeah, so there's like proof that you've been a dick. And
Right.
why? Oh, okay. So nowadays we have OnlyFans, and anybody can do that. If you have minimal knowledge of computers, you can put videos and pictures up and do chats and all of that stuff.
If you can create an Instagram account,
Yeah.
you can create an OnlyFans
Yeah.
account.
But this fucking Girl House needed an entire TV fucking production crew to get this thing
Again,
running.
2014. This is, you got to remember, 2014.
I know, but it felt excessive.
It did. But again, I remember trying to stream in 2014 and knowing that, like, yeah, you needed way more expensive and a lot more equipment to
But
do
they
something that
had
they wanted
it,
to,
but
that
they
they're trying to do.
didn't need like 15 people doing all this stuff.
It was only like 3. They had a security guard, the
Oh
guy that
my
owned
God.
it, and then the 2 tech
The
guys.
security guard, right? So they introduced this security guard, and they're like, "Oh, well, he was a linebacker, all state." And I'm like, "That's a hell of a lot of good that's going to do against a fucking gun or mace, as it turns out." Like as soon as they said, "Oh, he's a linebacker," I'm like, "Oh, he's fucking dead." That's exactly
Of course
what's
he's
going to
dead.
happen.
And as soon as I said, this is a security guard, I was like, he's dead.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But the way he's taken out was actually really satisfying to me because he's like, bro, what are we gonna do? You gotta get out of here. I'm gonna come out. And then he maces him, and he's like, oh fuck, oh god damn it, and he's down, and it's like, yeah, idiot, there's chemicals in this world. That was stupid of him.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that part.
Yeah.
Not a lot,
I didn't.
but it was a bright spot in this movie. It was
So
a tiny bit of violent comedy, which I liked.
So the biggest thing with this movie is that they're trying to titillate you with obviously all the good-looking girls.
Yes.
But they give them all the most cardboard personalities.
Oh, geez, cardboard.
That, like-
that's giving them a whole lot.
I don't know. Creepy paper? Like creepy paper personalities?
Creepy paper.
And they're just also like super one-dimensional, and each one's a stereotype. And then like they bring in I don't know, the one girl that got kicked out
The heroin
because she was a
addict,
heroin
yeah.
addict. And they just bring her back in randomly, and she doesn't do anything. She's not there. Like I thought they were gonna give a thing where like her and Kylie were gonna be in like a fight because she's in my room.
Right.
And then they never do anything with it. And then she's immediately back on heroin like 10 seconds later.
Oh, of course.
And then so he snaps because they're mean to him and he can't find Kylie.
Yeah. Why did he want to see her? Would she have been able to calm him down? Like, what was the
I
point?
don't know. Wasn't she supposed to like be on time to chat or whatever? And she was out with the boyfriend. And that's the other thing. The boyfriend. We haven't even talked about the boyfriend yet.
I will give the movie this. They tried to do something with him, but the writing was very convoluted. So the whole thing of he knows that she's doing the girl house thing, and then the redheaded friend, like they needed to just cut his character completely. He was
The one that actually finds where they are.
Yeah, the one that managed to do something I thought was the worst character in the whole movie. He's just full of cliched sayings and outdated ideas, and it's like, oh dude, if you tell her that she's gonna think that you think she's a slut, and like, well, maybe she's gonna think he's a fucking pervert. You ever think of that?
And the thing is, he is.
Yeah.
He reconnected with her after seeing her on the website.
I mean,
like, he wouldn't even.
To be fair, I mean, if you see somebody, you're like, oh shit, I should talk to them.
If you see something, say something.
That's what he did.
Come on and party tonight. Anyway, so yeah, she's got this boyfriend Ben who went to high school with her, and he lives like fairly close. 70
miles.
70 miles.
You know what though?
You know what though?
She seemed like a nice girl, and she was pretty, and she was very fun to be around.
And the Kylie character, I actually liked her, and I thought the actress, did what she could with it. She's, I mean, obviously they're all young, attractive, hot girls, so like that's the whole like thing they're going with. But she was the only one that seemed like she had any sort of sense in her.
Yeah, yeah, she was definitely, she had a different mindset than the rest of them.
Right. So anyway, so our killer, who's known as Lover Boy, he finally decides that he's like, well, not finally, he immediately decides that he's done and he's gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
And he wears dime store Texas Chainsaw Massacre leather face mask.
Yeah. Are we gonna? Let me just mention that there's a little riff on Maniac going on here with the mannequin.
Yeah, I mean,
but hey, if you're gonna steal from a movie, that's
a good one to steal from.
It is a good mix between Maniac and Chainsaw, because you got the mannequin that he talks to, but then he wears the face with the woman with the face of the mannequin with the makeup, so it kind of looks like Leatherface when he had the makeup on. So okay, the look was all right. It was a better look than the guys we didn't see in the last movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, all in all, I mean, this movie has its promise of like, it's a slasher with a bunch of hot chicks, and you're like, all right, cool. But its biggest issue is that it just doesn't do anything to push any type of buttons or envelopes or anything. Right, It's Girl House. There's not even very much. There's only a tiny bit of nudity in this movie. There's like 2 quick sex scenes. Like, now, and I'm not saying like I need to have that stuff, but like for what you're trying to do and the movie you're making, you got to go there, right?
Yeah, you can't do reverse cowgirl with sheets all over everybody. No. Or maybe, you know what, just play the noises. But you gotta have, if you're doing a cam show movie, I think you have to have Showgirls levels of nudity. At least boobs.
Right.
And
there's only a couple quick ones.
wouldn't it have been nice too if there were men in this as well that were part of the whole thing? And because clearly
Well, it's called Girl House.
Who cares?
Not
Who cares?
Men and Women
Call
House.
it something different, because the main guy that runs the whole show is shown to be gay. So
Yep.
why wouldn't you have men in this as well?
Well, some of the girls bring men into the house.
Yeah,
So I guess there you
not
go.
what you know. That's not what I mean. It's just nowadays. I think we would definitely see more equality in the whole thing, and it would be called Nude House or Sex House or something equally fucking stupid.
I saw one thing when I was looking at some of the bad reviews of this and I didn't even think about it, but everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but a large number of the people in this movie that get killed because they're wearing headphones. Like the tech guy walking through the woods.
Yeah.
He's wearing his headphones. The girl that's doing her yoga or whatever is wearing headphones. The girl that lays down in bed puts in her headphones.
Which nobody wears headphones before they need to get killed.
Right.
So I didn't even notice that. That's funny. Ugh.
I don't know, man. So he comes in and starts mowing down these chicks. Obviously, he kills he kills the security guard. And they do such a hard. They push it so hard with the guy that runs it has this iPhone device that is connected to everything and controls everything. And the idea that he can lock them into the house, that's no.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't be a thing.
And he can also stop each room's chat function or stop each room's communication function, and he can block the cell phone signal from it, and he can shut down the outgoing internet.
I can see some of those things he's capable of doing.
Some,
but not the disable the cell phones, kill the signal. They would have had to show him taking out the towers nearby.
Right. The sheer fact that he can block somebody from sending out an email, but yet people can still watch the website. That doesn't make any sense at all. So for me, it got so bad with the point of then not only is it just dumb decision after dumb decision, but then also again, there's nothing inventive about the kills in this. I think the dude when he was he shoves the dildo into the girl's mouth and then wraps the tape around her head and she dies from that.
You mean he shoves the dildo into her mouth and then turns around and searches for something to wrap around her head, and she leaves the dildo in her mouth? Yeah, I remember that scene.
That one.
Because I went back to watch it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Did I blink and miss him grabbing it? Yes, clearly. Yeah. Also, what a boring dildo. It's just, there's no texture to it. It's just like a huge floppy sausage. It wasn't even interesting to look at. It's all boring.
I didn't even get it. I didn't look at it. I just know it ended up in her mouth.
Well, I went back and had to make sure, how do you keep that long? And maybe he could have shoved it down her throat, so it's not sticking out of her mouth. That would have been a little better. Block the whole windpipe.
Mm-hmm.
But that would have taken money.
So then he goes after Devin, the blonde girl. He slashes her up real good and cuts all her fingers off.
That was actually not bad. There was a decent amount of blood for that, and
bad.
It did prevent her from getting out the door, so I like that.
All right, so she's trying to tell people where she is, and she's on there trying to type with her. He cut all her fingers off, so she doesn't have any fingers, and she's just mashing the keyboard. And then the redhead guy on the other end is oh, use your nose or whatever.
Yeah.
So then we know that she can't do any of that stuff. And then eventually Kylie gets back to her and she's all right, no, she's I'm gonna get you out of here. And she's no, she's just kill me. I can't live on looking like this.
She has no idea what she looks like. She can only feel it.
Right. But she's got no fingers because she can't type. But somehow, again, and now we're going back to the plastic bag suffocation thing.
Yeah.
Manages to put a plastic bag over her head, and then tie a knot without having any fingers and suffocate herself in 15 seconds.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. She somehow managed to tie it tight around her neck.
I also had to go back and double check that to make sure, like, she put it on so fast and died so fast. I'm like, did I miss something?
Right. But like they make such a point of being like she doesn't have any fingers because she can't type, but yet she was able to tie a knot.
Yeah. Or at least
Stupid.
at least pull the drawstring tight. But she can't. You just showed us. You're right. You can't. Ugh.
And there's at least 3 or 4 instances in this where they get the killer down and nobody finishes the job.
No, that's lazy storytelling.
I hate that. I think more than anything in slasher movies now is where you're able to take the killer out, you stab him or you hit him over the head with something or whatever, and then you just leave him and run the other way when you have a perfect opportunity to just stomp the shit out of him.
Yeah. In Horizon, the game Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the tribes, their war chant is hit them like a hammer until they can't hit back. And like that's good. That's words to live by in a slasher movie. Nobody takes the mask off the dude. Nobody does anything. It's like fucking, and that's not just this movie. That's a bunch of movies. Like It's a Wonderful Knife. I'm like, take his fucking mask off. Take the fucking mask off. You killed him. Take the fuck. Okay, good. You did. So after that, I was okay. That was fine. But yeah, finish him. Shao Kahn has a saying, and when Shang Tsung has a saying for a reason. Finish him. Come on. It'd be one thing if you're just running to get to your car and you're going to fucking leave real fast.
Yeah.
But God damn it. That is the most infuriating thing. If you have the guy down or the thing that's trying to kill you and you have it on the ground, fucking start cutting pieces of its body off, starting with the head. Like, come on, do something.
Right. Slash his throat. Like whatever and it happened I think 3 times in this. And then it's the other thing of the like people just making really dumb decisions, and it makes the kills less. The kills in this are already uninteresting and not inventive. I know we talked about the girl being choked to death with the dildo, but like I don't think that it was a cool, exciting thing because it wasn't.
It wasn't done in an interesting wink at the camera fun.
I think that's
way.
what's even more frustrating about this one, because compared to the first movie, is that they tried to make these interesting kills.
Yeah.
Like the sauna thing where like he locks her in the sauna and turns the heat up in the sauna. I'm like, okay, but then like you don't do anything with it. Yeah. And then she just gets her head bashed in by a polo what's the polo
mallet?
Polo mallet. Yeah. Like these people that are like, they see this guy, this hulking guy, and rather than try to get away, they just stand there. Like, I guess it's the frozen in fear thing.
If he had picked up that dildo, how hard would it have been to say, not that one, or no ass to mouth, or whatever, you know?
Well, the answer was very hard.
Something funny. But the killer is like, not fun.
No,
like I'm not saying
fun.
I'm not saying killers in slasher movies are fun, because there are definitely some that are just kind of boring. Like, fuck, I can't. No, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus here. Any good slasher guys?
Any more than we already have?
Yeah. But yeah.
All right. Girl House, do you recommend it? What's your grade?
Yeah, no. This one I'm kind of upset. It's in the first week of new shows we're doing this year, because it's a terrible precedent. It's a bad omen for the rest of the year. Not a fan. Never will be. I think if you're going to go with a whole thing where nudity is one of the key components of your whole story, you can't skimp on it. You can't just have girls in t-shirts and panties running around, because that's not what the people are paying to see. And I think they lost track of why this website was up. So, I'm gonna fail this. This is awful.
Yeah, I'm also not recommending it. And I agree 100% with the whole idea of like, if they're doing this, like you gotta commit to it. Like, you know, each character's got the, like, so there's the one character, they're going through the rooms, and the one character that's got like all the BDSM stuff, like in the bondage stuff in the room. And then they never do anything with that. Nope. Like, how did that not play into her being murdered? You know what I mean? Like, how did you not make that part of that?
I mean,
lazy. It's just lazy writing.
Swinging on it, dead. I mean, isn't that kind of what you would do? Like, just.
They could have done a million things.
Yeah.
And the laziness in the writing, I think, is the most frustrating thing with this, because they were very much just like, we're going to put these hot girls in this house and we're going to murder them. And there's no inventiveness. There's no inventiveness. The killer is so pedestrian.
I didn't feel like he had enough of a.
There was no motivation. He didn't have motivation. Yeah. Like, well, I guess we're given that scene at the beginning when they're kids, and we just need to know that he's a psycho and he can't like. And it's not even I guess it's supposed to be he can't take the rejection, but like it's not explained at any point.
No, because what was he being rejected from in the beginning? We don't know, because we didn't see what came before it.
No, because it's opened with these girls chasing him down and then making fun of him when they pull his pants down.
Yeah, and why was the other girl not the girl from the beginning of the fucking movie? You know, the one that survived? Because then she could have talked him down and you could have had a thing, and then somebody comes in and you know, it's the whole taming of the beast kind of thing, and then the anger gets reignited. That would have at least shown some personality in the characters. But the whole beginning, nothing. It's nothing for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. So John Knott's foul for you, my friend. The Shrine is excellent. Jack Brooks' Monster Slayer is excellent, but this is garbage, man. There's nothing wrong with the way it's shot. Like, it's shot well. It looks fine. It's not doing anything interesting, but it's not doing anything wrong.
Right.
I don't think I'll fail. I'll give it a D-.
Yeah, I was not. I have a real hard
that's
time.
fair. This is garbage.
Yeah. I have a hard time.
These are the type of slasher movies that give slasher movies like a bad name as to why people hate them.
Yeah.
Because you watch shit like this and you're like, this is just fucking terrible. There's nothing redeeming or entertaining. Not that you would get anything redeeming out of like Friday the 13th or anything, but like there's nothing, if I don't want to use the word redeeming, there's nothing satisfying about it.
Right. Yeah.
So, farts. That's what I say.
Yeah.
All right.
Big.
So we are making Joe watch Hellraiser, the series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming he's going to start with part 1.
Bold assumption on your part.
A bold decision there.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris. And hello, OTC Nation. Your boy Joe here, and this week Bill took me to, I'm guessing London. They never really say, but it's London. Because he made me watch Hellraiser. Remember when you were a kid and you watched a movie trailer and it scared you shitless? That was Hellraiser for me. I was 10 in 1987 when it came out, which means I was just old enough to understand death and physical pain and all that stuff, and also just young enough to not be able to rationalize the 90-second TV spot I just watched. It gave me nightmares. I vaguely remember watching the trailer, being terrified, and knowing that I would never, ever watch that movie. Cut to, not very far down the road, and the first 4 Hellraiser movies are amongst my favorites. Yes, even Part 4. Yes, Part 4 is the one that takes place in space. Yes, I know it's not good. Yes, I'm projecting that you're judging me for loving that movie.
No.
Quick question before I start this thing. How many people do you think discovered their kinks because of Hellraiser?
Oh, 25%.
I bet it's more people than you'd really think.
The entire cast of Girls' School.
You're talking about the first
House,
Hellraiser.
Girl House.
That said, I don't think I can think of a movie that is less sexy, but is more about just sex and wanting sex and the complications arising from sex.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
The lengths that people will go to fulfill that urge. As it pertains to Clive Barker, I've always been kind of fascinated with him. Like, he's an interesting person. He's also much like Stephen King to me in that I love their short stuff immensely. When they keep themselves to a word count, it's amazing. But when they're writing full-length works, it's kind of like, all right, listen. I don't need to know the mileage on the car and what color shirt the guy was wearing and what old song he was thinking of for like 20 pages as they pull up to the creepy house. Just give me 1 page of that and then let these fucking people pull up to the creepy fucking house. That said, go read Books of Blood. They're pretty good.
Excellent.
Something I remembered being good, or at least not bad, was the first half hour of this movie. I would love to make a joke here about how memory can fail us in middle age. But if I'm honest, it really isn't bad. It's just really slow moving. And we all know that that's kind of a sticking point for me. Barker wanted us to savor, in my opinion, the awkwardness of just being a fucking human on this weird spinning mud ball in space that we all live on. Like, we make bad choices, and there's bad people, and yeah, it's occasionally pretty great, but just wait a minute, and it'll get weird again. The whole first act plays out more like a BBC drama than like a visceral Grand Guignol body horror affair that would give Cronenberg an Obsidian hard boner. There's widower Larry, who is as milquetoast as bread pudding, and he's got all the personality of wallpaper paste. He's married to Julia, who is presented as hot? ? That's weird. She's also
80s
moody,
business hot.
selfish, and seems like about as much fun as taking the tip of your middle finger off with a meat slicer when you were working at Jimmy John's while failing out of college. That might just be me, though. They met and got married in New York, but have moved to London, where Julie is from, but not before she bones the embodiment of toxic masculinity in Larry's brother, Frank.
Ugh, yeah.
Oh, Frank. A psych major would have a fucking field day writing a paper on this guy. Larry's actually hot daughter, Kirsty, is also there, but let's face it, we've all seen the first 2 Hellraisers, and while she's a significant part of this movie, she isn't really a thing until part 2. Frank, having worn out his desire for healthy or really even unhealthy pleasures, gets his hands on the box and has a bad time. Insert the losing noise from Price is Right here. Bum, bum, ba, bum, brrr. But when Larry bleeds on the floor where Frank dies, he goops his way back to life in one of the better and grosser scenes in any movie this side of a guinea pig film.
Oh, the noise that skeleton
Like, I'd put
makes.
the Frank stuff in here, like, right up there with Cronenberg's The Fly for body stuff.
Yeah.
Julia gets creative in bringing her fuck toy brother-in-law back to life, and then we get what we all came for after nearly an hour of what amounts to a slightly scandalous episode of Coronation Street. Kirsty takes the box and dips from the house like someone who's not in a horror movie and is actually thinking about things, but she bonks her head and while in the hospital opens the box. Now, listen. This very, very, very easily could have come off as cheesy or campy, and sometimes it does straddle that line. Not just any old actor could have put on that makeup and read those lines and had the gravitas and authority that Doug Bradley had when portraying Pinhead. Flat out. I will go to my grave thinking that. I mean, for fuck's sake, going back to cheesy or campy, motherfucker's called Pinhead. But Doug Bradley plays this like he is reciting a long-lost Shakespeare play at the Stratford Festival instead of reciting creepy lines in a medium-budget horror film.
Yeah, he got
really
the assignment.
saves this whole affair. Kirsty plays Let's Make a Deal with the Cenobites, and they give her a soft yes, implying that they might just want her instead, regardless of Frank escaping them. And honestly, I don't blame them. Ashley Lawrence is beautiful and has a body that is rockin' harder than the 1982 album Friends of Hell by British metal band Witchfinder General, which I also recommend in addition to this movie. While Frank is like a sleazy middle management guy in the mafia who looks like he smells like a 50-50 combo of body funk and oregano.
Ugh.
Like, he's one of those guys who's covered in a thin sheen of sweat no matter what he's doing or the exertion
patchouli.
level.
Yeah.
There's intrigue, there's backstabbing.
Yeah.
Frank ends up wearing Larry like he's trying to stay warm on Hoth. And then the last 20 minutes of the movie goes off like a fireworks display in Dubai. Frank stooges himself off to Pinhead and his crew, gets treated like he's in a Japanese death match and just stiffed his opponent and is about to get a receipt. The Cenobites pull the least surprising heel turn ever and want Kirsty as well. It gets wrapped up a bit too quickly, and she figures out the box in like 30 seconds like a Mensa candidate before we get the most WTF send-off to credits. Clive Barker himself plays a homeless guy who shows up every now and then and just kind of vaguely menaces Kirsty. He's just standing there as she and the dude who was like her love interest for about 15 minutes in the middle of the film.
Gorman from Aliens.
They escape the house.
Wasn't it?
And he turns into a bone dragon
Was that
who
part-
just flies away.
As you do.
Okay, here's the thing. The good. Phenomenal practical gore effects, as well as the makeup on the Cenobites. That was really, really fucking good. There's a decent mix of like that old school sense of kind of like a Poe-esque storytelling. Like you could compare this to The Telltale Heart, which it's kind of based on. But it's got that modern sense of like a more visceral horror than the old school guys did. Oh, and I could listen to Doug Bradley in character, read a fucking cookbook, and it would hold my attention. The bad. All of the light effects, like when the Cenobites get put back in the box, or the box is like supposed to glow or like kind of spark, it looks like someone's kid took a light pen and just scribbled on the film. It's really bad.
Well, yeah, they did that in
It
like
would have
2
been much
days
better
at
just to
home.
not do it in the first place. Also, I get doing like a slow burn here, saving almost everything for the big blow off at the end. But that dial needed a little bit of adjustment in the other direction, if you ask me. I'm sure it sounded like I didn't even like Hellraiser, much less love it. And I'm just trying to be funny here. I very genuinely love this movie and the 3 that followed it. Big old pass. I'll be back next week with Hellraiser 2, Hellbound, where they realized that your dynamic and intriguing character might deserve just a bit more screen time. Until then, be good, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, man. Looking forward to your thoughts on the rest of these. Specifically, the one that's the internet-based one.
Oh, yeah. I remember going to
Hellworld, is
see
that what-
Hellraiser. Yeah, I think it was. I remember seeing Hellraiser, and it was around the time like Dead Ringers was out, so I was exposed to Barker and Cronenberg, and like my brain was not ready for that shit. And I hated it the day I saw it, but I've come to love the idea and the characters.
When I rewatched the whole series, that was my first back surgery, right?
Yeah.
I rewatched the whole series. I realized that when I had seen part 2 first, like when I was younger, I saw it before I ever saw part 1.
Okay.
And remember like just being utterly confused by what was happening.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I've obviously gone and revisited the first one many times over the years. And I do believe that the first 2 are 2 of the best, horror films from that time period, and definitely would go on like that all-time list. 3 has its merits. And then the 4th one was the prequel that took place in like the 1800s, I think. So.
It was through 2 or 3 different time periods. I know that we had the future where they were trying to do Le Marchand's bending of the light. That idea. 3 ended really neat. I loved the last few scenes and the idea that the box would still influence the people involved in the area. That was neat. And then I skipped to Judgment and then the Hulu one.
Well, then it was just off a cliff.
Well, because it was the opposite of what the Saw series did. Saw for part 2 took a script that wasn't a Saw movie and made it into a really actually good for Saw movies. I like part 2. This one took scripts and it's like, let's make this guy Pinhead.
Yeah, there were so many of those sequels that were just to hold on to the rights of the name.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
all right, well, good luck, Joe. You're going to need it.
yeah.
Speaking of good luck, Reverend Scott's here. I hope everyone had a good holiday season, had a good Christmas if you celebrate, if you have Hanukkah celebrations. I hope that you enjoyed that. Kwanzaa, your New Year celebrations, everything you do. Hope it was great for you. Hope you're recharged and ready for another year.
It wasn't, and no, I am not.
Fair.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
Tell me how you really feel.
I really feel like this. Ugh. I forgot I said that.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott. First of all, are you ready for yet another full year of holy shit?
No, fuck off. Like, first of all.
That's some tough shit because I'm back for my third segment of the year already. Seeing as though I sent you 2 whole segments last show, which proved to be a bit confusing for Bill, despite my best efforts. Let me explain. You see, last week you said,
we're doing our top 10 films of 2023.
So I decided that sounded like fun, and I would join in with 5 picks after your first 5. And then you'll never guess after that, I did another 5 after your number 1s. But alas, that's not exactly what happened. Which shouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, what did you expect?
Because little did both of you know, I was keeping track of each of your picks and numbering them as you talked.
Oh, good.
Because unlike me, who planned out my whole list, scripting out every facet of my top 10, someone else decided to wing it. I'm not going to say who.
My wife.
So Chris's number 10 was It's a Wonderful Knife. Then Bill had John Wick Chapter 4, which Bill wins that because that was also on my list.
Yay!
Then Chris at number 9 had Totally Killer. And Bill with The Wrath of Karen or something like that I've never heard of because he's so different and hardcore. And Chris returns at number 8 with a total shocker of Megan. And I only say that's shocking because Megan was released in 2022.
You're childish, Chris.
No, wasn't it this year?
Then Bill hit up his number 8 with Infinity Pool, which I haven't seen, so that's a poor pick.
God damn it.
Then Chris came in at number 7 with Dungeons and Dragons, which I have to admit would have likely booted one of the movies from my list to make room for this, because I totally forgot about it.
Me too.
It was surprisingly good. So Chris automatically wins that pick because Bill picked Talk to Me, and I thought that was mid.
So disappointing.
Then at number 6 for Chris was the Super Mario Bros., which wins yet again because it was on my list. And that's about the time in the show where things started to fall apart. Bill names May December, which again, I'm not even sure that's a real movie, but he made it his number 7. And if that sounds a bit odd, that's because it was Bill's second number 7.
There we
after
go.
Chris's number 6. So then Bill asked Chris for his number 6, which he seemed to be a bit confused because he had already given it. So he gives Bill his number 5 because he's got to continue his list, and he says Evil Dead Rise as his number 6 Part 2. Then Bill gives No One Will Save You, which is an amazing pick, but he is awarded no points because he's not only got it too low on his list, but he calls it his number 6, which is actually his number 5. And here's the best part. Now is when you move on to my segment and begin praising yourself for doing everything right so far.
That was my number 6, so we're at number 5. So let's play the first half of Scott's list. Play it now, as opposed to waiting, because I'll forget if I don't.
Right.
God knows that's what I'm good for. So let me also, okay, part 2 is 5 through 1, so we want to play part 1, which is 10 through 6.
That sounds
And I'm even
right.
playing it at the right time. God bless you.
We'll see.
All right, here we
about
go.
that.
Mind you, my email said, quote, Part 1. This is Part 1. The first part. play it after your number 6s, unquote. But you didn't. And only after looking at your lists again did things start to become more clear.
I wonder. We're at 5, right? I should have 5 left, right?
No, I have 4.
Well, we're only at number 5.
Hold on. So I did It's a Wonderful Knife, Totally Killer, blah, 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 Evil Dead Rise, Super Mario, D&D, and Megan. That's 6, right? Because we did Scott's after our number 6s.
So did we misnumber them then?
No. I think you're just confused right now. Because I have 4 left. I know that, because I only have 10 on my list.
Right, but... Shit, I think we were saying it was number 6 when it was number 5.
That's when I thought there had been an epiphany, as Bill names his number 4 as Leave the World Behind. But he calls it his number 5.2. And then Chris did his number 4, Across the Spider-Verse. And at this point, I was starting to get a bit concerned, but I let it go. And then it was top 3 time. Chris had They Clone Tyrone. But was it actually top 3 time? Because Bill says his pick was Dream Scenario, but it wasn't number 3. It was his number 4. So to review that one, Bill said Dream Scenario was his number 4, and Chris's number 3 was They Clone Tyrone. Which will move on to Bill again, whose self-proclaimed number 2, totally skipping number 3 altogether, was The Killer, which I enjoyed, and Bill said it had no dialogue except for the fact that Michael Fassbender did a voiceover nonstop through the entire film, which I guess could be counted as narration, but fuck you, it counts as dialogue.
No,
you
it's not
skipped number
dialogue.
3. And Chris returned with his number 2 as The Amazing Sisu.
So this is a Finnish film.
It is finished. I saw it.
majority
It
of it
was
in-
completely done.
No, Finnish.
But yeah, they finished it.
I finished it as well, but not in time for my list, otherwise it would have made it pretty high up there. After that, we have Bill's number 1 of Barbie, but he called it his number 2. This error made us all throw up in our mouths.
This has happened in real life, and I don't understand it because it's disgusting.
Then with a very unceremonious number 1 comes Chris with the only correct pick of Godzilla -1. Perfect, no notes. And last but not least, we have Bill's second number 1 of They Clone Tyrone, which, while it may have nearly topped my own list, it's disqualified here for being Bill's number 11 film on his top 10 list, which I hope brings you much shame and hangs over your head like a dark, rainy cloud for the rest of the day.
Nah, man. Like, you don't want to feel like that all day.
Okay.
Like, no, I don't want to feel like that all day.
Tough shit. Okay, that's enough for this week. It went on a bit long, but I hope it was enjoyable.
He was good, but I forget what my point was.
And I hope you review my own list from last week and watch any movie that I mentioned that you haven't seen.
Oh, you gotta watch this movie. Fuck you, I will never watch it.
But until then, peace and love, guys. Holy Shit with Reverend Scott.
Again, I didn't expect a lot from that one.
Understandably so, because Reverend Scott. Man.
All right, so
I fucked that all up because I didn't write down a numbered list beforehand. I just had all the movies in front of me. So, like, I didn't have them numbered anywhere.
Oh, I thought I was losing my mind.
No, it's 100% on me, man. Thank you for calling me out, Scott. I appreciate it.
Megan had a premiere December 7th in LA only, but January 6th it was a wide release in 2023. So, semantics.
I didn't question it at the time, so therefore it passes.
Semantics. The poster says only in theaters January 6th, so I'm right.
You are right. Go to our
Ultimately, it doesn't
Patreon.
matter.
Support the show. Patreon.com/Outside the Cinema. Go to Facebook. Go to the groups. Search Outside the Cinema. Say something to us about movies you like, or apparently how bad I am at numbering things. You can always send us an
We
email.
don't need that
outsidethecinema
much
Gmail.
interaction.
No, I mean I'm saying it. No one's gonna do it, but I'm saying it. But yeah, I mean that's really all we got. We'll be back next week with a couple more 2014 flicks.
Hopefully
that's
better.
Can't be a whole lot worse. Everyone enjoy their week. Talk to you soon. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye.